Sorry about that.
No, you're
Small
good.
little hiccups here. Let's see
You
there.
might check. Is it still using your other mic on Restream?
Oh, it might be.
I think it might be grabbing your computer mic.
It is. Good. Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah, I've made that mistake before talking into this thing, and it was my PC the whole time.
I've done that through a lot of podcasts, and it's funny is like if you don't, and especially if I don't use the P4 audio, then that's definitely going to be the good thing. All right, there we go. Instagram's up. All right, dude, I'm ready if you are ready.
Let's roll.
All right. All right, guys, welcome back. I have Christian from the Hunter Advantage podcast. What's going on, man?
Oh man, just I'm sitting over here sweating, slaving in the South, but just got back home from Canada, and I was greeted with the 90-degree heat down here in Texas, and so it doesn't feel like deer season at all. So it's kicking off for everybody else, and down here it feels feels like a little bit of hell's following me home.
Oh man, that's crazy. And you come back from shooting all those animals up north and then you come down there and it's almost like it starts all over and you're right from the beginning again.
Oh, dude, our we have a buddy named Lee in Calgary, so in Alberta, and they don't even have air conditioners up there, and they don't have them in the summers. And so, like when it was 75 up there, they're like, "God, it's so freaking hot." And I'm like, "Dude, if it's 75 degrees in October here, I'm like, oh, it's so nice outside." So, dude, it's just different. It's different. That southern heat is no joke.
Yeah, and is it like no humidity? It's just super dry heat, but really it can be super hot.
It's humid, so we get the humidity because here in Central Texas and even in Northeast Oklahoma, where Jake lives, and where I'm from, there's a lot of water, so there's some humidity in the air. So, dude, there's about 3 or 4 months a year where it's pretty much completely unbearable down here. Like
Yeah,
it's bad.
I couldn't do it being, in where we are in New England, like we get all the seasons, which is a super great thing. So you get
Yeah,
that summer, so it's like that good fishing time and then the leaves start to change like right now it's average 75, like it's beautiful, it's great. And then we get the snow. So like you get all of those changing seasons and it's incredible. It's just
oh yeah.
the best of all worlds.
I went up to Maine. My wife, I guess, got into this TikTok thing and convinced that there was a baby moon, whatever that means. So we went on a trip before we had the baby. We got a 7-month-old now, and Maine. We went in October, and it was like 40s and 50s, and it was so nice. And the leaves were falling, and it looked like fall. And I'm just like, dude, I've never seen a fall. Like this is what real fall looks like. And then I brought my buddy Gabe Foley down here, and he drove up with me to Nebraska on an antelope hunt, and he's from Ohio. And I remember he came down here, and it was 104 when he landed. And he got off the plane, and we went to shoot my bow before we left at like 3 p.m. And he was like, "Dude, I can't do it." He's like, "I can't do it. I got to get back in the truck." He's like, "I can't do it." And I was like, "Dude, this is just every day down here. Like it's just hot."
I couldn't live with that. I mean, my thing is like even you even talking about that, like how is that even comfortable come hunting season? Like
It's not.
what are you really hunting in? Like what does a rut look like for you?
Oh, dude, there's a lot of like throughout October. If you see 60s, like we'd call that like a cold front. Like that'd be a cold front. Yeah, like that wouldn't be a norm. Like that would be like a cold front. So there's a lot of days in October where it's low 90s, 85 degrees, and like the lows are like 71, 69, and so like what would be maybe your highs is our lows, like probably a 20-degree average shift down here. And so like there's a lot of times we have an annual rutcation we do in the first week in November, and there's a lot of times where it's still 80 degrees, high 70s. And it's just, I don't know. You'd like to think that like the rut trumps everything. And like in some sense it does. But if I like to think if a buck has to kill himself when it's almost 90 degrees to go chase a doe, then maybe unless she's like really in, he might not do it. So I just feel like it suppresses a lot of the movement. But what it does do is when we do get a cold front, it's so starkly different. Like those temperatures, if the lows were in the high 60s and they go to the 40s, it's just like it's hot, hot, hot. Like it just turns on because we don't get a bunch of that. And in December and stuff, it's cold, but yeah, I would say most of November it's not super super cold down here, so
Is
it
your
kind of
rut
sucks.
still in that November time?
Yeah, I would say like Our peak rut is probably like November 7th through like I don't know, probably the 20th, something like that.
So
So
that's virtually, I mean, that's virtually the same thing that
very.
we pray for is those days. I mean,
Mhm.
November 7th is that's a super killer day for big bucks to die all the way through the
Yeah.
11th. You know what I'm saying? Like those are those serious chasing days of the rut. And but the difference is I'm hunting uh a high of 40 at that time of the year. You know what I'm saying? And then,
Mhm.
you could be in the 20s by the end of that. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe
Oh, yeah.
30s, high of 30, 35, 40. Like that's tremendous. And then you have those super cold nights. I mean, we look forward to those. I couldn't imagine a November in the 70s. Like I would lose my mind.
Oh, no, it's ridiculous. There was one year we were hunting public pretty hard, so we hunted it like we're hunting down in the mountains in eastern Oklahoma, and we were hunting like every weekend through October and up to November. And uh, I went like 0 for 12 in a row of like my sits, and I didn't see a single deer. And like I knew they were good spots, like they're historically good spots and they're good rut spots, but it's when it's 80 degrees, you're not seeing a whole lot of deer movement. And if it's right at daylight and right at dark. And so I'm like, well, I'm all freaking hunted out. I've went 0 for 12 the last month on these sits. And then I come back, and then I think that year was like 2021, and I ended up shooting a buck the first day of November. But I'm just like, God, dude, like, not that you write October off, but like when you are praying for an October cold front because it can really, really turn it on, especially for mature bucks. So we just don't have that stark difference. But when it happens, I would say it's a lot more significant. Like your deer, if 30 degrees, 50 degrees all the time, if it goes to 25, it's probably not that different for them. But when ours goes from a low of 65 to 40, it's a big difference.
Yeah, and I would say that that's the same here. If you get in like right now is in that 75 high, and then when you start to see that 50 high during the day, it's gonna be tremendously different. And you do, I think that I know I'm kind of bouncing around here, but like October, say those last couple weeks of October that you were just talking about, like those are those sought after days that I personally like to hunt because those scrapes start to really start to hit and get heavy. I like to travel those days. But the thing is, like you just said, it's a hit or miss world. Like it can be super warm, or you could have that cold front in those October days where it can be super fire.
Hmm. Oh, dude, yeah, that's why if it's past October, like for us, even the 10th, like past October 10th, and there's a cold front that drops more than like 15 degrees, like I'm like a pig in crap. But I'm like, dude, it's gonna happen because you got to think that the deer have been waiting for 100 days through the summer to like feel a cold day, and when they first feel that, they're like, yeah, dude, I'm getting up. I'm gonna smash a scrape. I'm gonna go cruise, a travel corridor or whatever. And so it just makes those days, since they're so few and far between, it just makes them super special. Like killed a good amount of bucks on October cold fronts. So I love to hunt those days.
And there, but the thing is, in some of the negatives though, like if you're planning a hunting trip, so like myself, I love Ohio. I fell in love with Ohio. Ohio is one of my favorite places to hunt. And it was one of those things I went on a whim, right? And I'd go the last week of October, first week of November because you always could potentially catch it. One year done very well there, and it was super cold, killed one of my biggest bucks there. And then the next October I go there, and it's 75 degrees and no movement at all. And I think it's one of those hit or miss moments. And it's scary because especially when you're trying to travel somewhere to go hunt and something like that happens, like what do you do? Like what is your target at that point? Like what are you trying to find to make that hunt worthy, right?
Yeah, I hate not that I hate hunting hard, but I hate putting like hard dates in the calendar, especially because I've kind of set my life up in a way, and I've always tried to do like jobs that are a little more flexible in a sense. So it's like if the cold front is actually Tuesday through Friday and not very rarely do they fall when I want, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's usually like Monday or Wednesday or something. So I try to be flexible because like I feel like you can be a lot more efficient if you hunt the right days instead of hunting super super hard. And I've tried it both ways. And the reality for me is like, and Jake and too is like we try to do a good amount of Western hunting too throughout the year. So it's like you only have so many hard days that you can devote to it. And I just try to make sure to make them count. Like I'm down to, if there's a good cold front for 4 days, I'm down to sit it. But those hunting October 1st, 2nd, 3rd out on public when it's 92 degrees high, 95 high. I don't know if that's my jam anymore. And it definitely used to be.
Yeah, and because you want to get it in when you can, right? And like
Hmm.
you hunt as hard as you can, and sometimes you leak yourself out. It's like shed season for me, and like you want to hit it real hard. A couple of bucks are losing their antlers, and you want to search real hard for antlers, and then you kind of burn yourself out because you did so many miles. Then when it comes into that February time and all the antlers are on the ground, you're like, well, I already went there. I already walked that
Yeah.
piece, and then you just don't go in there and hunt it. But I think it's the other thing, going back on what you were saying as far as like those dates and being flexible. My life has changed tremendously when it was used to where I had that flexibility, and I never really understood it because everybody else was like, "Oh, I have to hunt these hard dates. Like I have to take off November 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are my days that I'm able to have off." Where I was like, "Well, I'm going to leave when the cold fronts come in." And then cuz I
Yep.
could. And I never really understood it until now when you have to pick and choose your days and pick them wisely and just hope that it's not a washout or it's not, and it's tough for a lot of people that are those not I don't want to call them weekend warriors, but those
Yeah.
guys that have those 9 to 5 jobs. It's tough for them to set on and find the right times to go and do something because they're not flexible in what they do.
Oh, dude, do you know how many times I've hunted like November 1st through the 7th? And on the 7th, here comes the cold front that I've been waiting for the entire like 5 weeks of first 5 weeks of season. And I like high five guys that I know as I'm leaving the public and they're coming and they're texting me the entire time, like, dude, I just had $3 chasing one doe. This is insane. I'm like, I'm so glad that, that I went and hunted hard for a week and like I've used all my relational equity with my wife and like she's covering my bases back here and like I've just, blew my wad for another for another like work, not having a good word for it, like blew my wad. And so I like to think about that a lot now is like when you're super young, like when I was in my early and mid 20s and like it was just me and my wife, like I'd be like, well, I'll hunt that. And then if it turns on, I'll come back and I'll hunt it again, and I'll hunt this weekend and the next weekend and the next weekend and the next weekend. And the reality is life never really slows down. It only gets more complicated. And so I'm which sucks because if I had it my way, I would probably just do both. Be like, dude, I'm gonna hunt the best times and I'm gonna hunt all the time, right? But I realize that that's not something sustainable for me. It is if I want to be single, but not if I not if I want to be married.
Well, think about this too, and it's kind of funny, and I know, and it's when it comes to it, you have to make that commitment to ones at home. So you're not only trying to hunt a cold front, but you're also trying to balance what's going on at home. And that's a
Hmm.
tough thing, man. And there's a lot of people in this industry, and I understand why, that are divorced or single because of this. Because when you, like yourself, travel a ton, you just got back from Canada. So what are you going to do? Come
Yeah,
back and tell your wife that you're going to Arkansas? Like, what are you
facing
going
a
to
cold
do?
front. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's not reality anymore. You have to pick and choose your days. And do you find that now that you're starting to get older that like you're not hunting as much early season, you're more trying to focus on those hard days to chase whitetails?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've kind of shifted my focus in the you can hunt whitetails, I think, as early as like late August and like in certain parts of I think Tennessee and then South Carolina and stuff. And I've kind of found myself a little tempted to like go kind of chase the velvet and do that sort of thing. But for me, I wanna do the North American Super Slam. So I'm on number 5 now animals for that. And so I've kind of just taken that early season whitetail grind that I used to spend in like Kansas or Nebraska or somewhere else. And I've just shifted that to hunting Western stuff. So like this year we went to Kodiak Island and we went to Alberta. And so I've just kind of plugged in those early season whitetail dates. And then I'm like, hey, because it can be a grind in that early season and it's so hot, and especially in like the first part of October. In September in the Midwest, like you got beans, you got like standing beans, and there's other stuff that you can kind of play off of. So there's that movement, the deer and velvet. It's kind of interesting and fun. But I've shifted to like I'm definitely a second half of October into November kind of hunter. Like I think my whitetail season probably ends November 20th. Like as soon as the rifle season starts to kind of usher in Oklahoma, I'm not hunting it. I'm not hunting it nearly as much. And I also like I used to. There was 2 years in a row where I shot a buck on October 1st each time, like opening day, and that was super cool. So if I have a nice buck patterned, I absolutely will. But it's not one of those things where like it's kind of a dance, right? You got to know when to gas, you got to know when to break. And I kind of only through being an idiot have I learned when to gas and when to break. There was that what story I was telling you earlier. We hunted every single weekend in October, and these are like 3-day weekends, so of like 12 days in October. There was one time where I was driving home, and I got so tired that I made it an hour from my house, and it was like a 6-hour drive because I don't really have any permission down there in Texas, so I really go up to Oklahoma the majority of the time to hunt. And I was driving home, and I started to hallucinate. Like I started seeing cars like and people running across the road, and I'm like, oh, what the like I started like kind of herking and jerking, and I'm like on the phone with my wife. I'm like, I don't. I'm like seeing flashes come across the road that like aren't there, and like brake lights are freaking me out, and like I had to stop and get a hotel an hour from my house, and it was like $120 a night. And I stopped and I slept, and I woke up the next morning, and I'm like, dude, you have to stop doing this. This is not realistic. Like
It's not.
this, you have to stop doing this. And I'm I hate talking to my friends because I've got a friends from like other places, meeting a new one today from the East
Yeah,
Coast.
yeah.
And so I'm the guy that like when someone texts me and they're like, "Hey, we have this opportunity." I'm like, I say yes in my mind already, and I'm like, "Okay, so now I got to find a reason to say no." Like I'm already in my mind, I'm already committed to it.
Oh,
And
and
so I know that like that's a bad habit that I have, and there's been times in my life where I've put deer hunting way above like everything else, my relationship with God, my wife, everything. And so that's the only way that I've learned. So to answer your question, looping all the way back around, I definitely try to like pick my days for deer hunting, like October, late October, and then November for sure.
And you have to pick those days and pick them properly. And I never really understood it growing up, right? Because I always had a job where I was guiding during fishing season. Fishing season would end here because going into those seasons we have the
Yep.
winter and we wouldn't have those. So then I would hunt for a couple months and then I would work construction for the rest of it. And I'll tell you what is I could pick and choose. I can hunt every day. I would go 3 4 weeks in another state, or I would travel or do whatever, hunt whatever, ducks, geese, whatever, travel around and shoot whatever. And then I had a lot of older friends or mentors, and they wouldn't start deer hunting until the end of October, November. Like they wouldn't get after it. And I never really understood it. I'm like, dude, early seasons are great. You could pattern them. You could do this, that, like shooting
Hmm.
3 4 deer before anything even really kicked off. And I never really understood it until I started to get older and have responsibilities and a real 9 to 5. And I'm like, oh, that's why they do that, or that's why they take 1 week window near
Hmm.
Thanksgiving or whatever the case may be. But you go too hard at a young age. And I wish too at a younger age I knew what I knew now. So I went that hard back then, but then had the education that I have now
Oh
because I
yeah.
think it would be so much better.
Oh, well, that was my problem, and probably the majority of people that are young that go hard's problem is like I had to go hard because I didn't know anything. Like I just tried to make up for not knowing anything for like with just pure number of days, like law of averages. Okay, I suck, but if I suck for 40 days, what are the odds that something that I don't want to shoot walks by me? And like I can lower my standards enough to where if those two things start to line up, right? 40 days, how can I shoot a 110? Probably 115, probably 120. Okay, that's probably about where I can expect if I hunt this many days and I don't know anything. So you
Mhm.
also learn more, and then you're like, okay, I don't have to hunt that hard. I can hunt a lot smarter than that. And and now I'm doing it on the western side. Like I'm traveling to western hunt, and I'm like, I need more days because I don't know anything. Like I can't go out here and just be successful like someone who can go kill an elk in 3 days. I don't know. I don't have those skills. So it's almost like I'm kind of going full circle again and restarting. It's kind of this violent repeating process. But yeah, man, I definitely don't miss that a whole lot cuz now I got to I got a little baby, and I mean, I enjoy spending time with him. We've spent a lot of time away the last month and a half, and like, so I don't mind waiting until late October this year, by
Yeah.
far.
Yeah, and the thing is, like you said, going so hard, you just push yourself to a whole nother limit. I had a scenario that had happened quite a handful of years ago, and I was huge into the whole fishing side. Like that was my favorite thing. We would chase 50-pound striped bass. Like that was the way to do. It was all I did.
Saltwater or freshwater?
Saltwater.
Okay.
So we have one of the biggest migrations of saltwater striped bass here in the world. Actually, we probably have one of the best migrations there is. Um, I ate up in it, and like I would charter during the day, and then I would personally fish at night. And like you were saying, you're driving home and you're hallucinating. I literally was about 600 yards from my front door and crashed my truck with my boat on the back of it and sent it over
Oh.
the top of my truck, and just raw stupidity, going
Mhm.
too hard, young and dumb, and you end up. I crashed literally in my front lawn. I hit the stone wall and just I fell asleep. It's just the way it goes, and you just go too hard because you're just
Yeah.
so into. You just like it's addiction. It's better than any drug in the world. You just have to do it.
Oh, I have it. I have it bad. Like, not that I have a super addictive personality, like in terms of like alcohol or anything else.
Mhm.
Like, it's not really my thing. But like for hunting, it's just I've talked to my wife about it. Is like there's there's two versions of me. There's like this version, and then there's like this other version who like could be a hermit and could like there's part of me that envies people like Remy Warren who's like, dude, I spend 300 days out of 365 a year. And there's part of me that's like, oh my God, I want that. And then I spend a month away in 6 weeks and I'm like, no, I don't, but but dude, it's so easy to get wrapped into that and just make it an idol. And that's the thing that keeps going back to me. One of my counselors told me once is like, our hearts are like idol factories. So like, we'll take anything and make it something bigger than God or bigger than our family, bigger than the priorities that we should have. And so I've tried to be honest and like kind of put myself back in check because and it's easier when you've had a little bit of success over a few years to like
Right.
do that. But like when you're trying to go get something and maybe go be somebody, it's one of the things that really set it in perspective for me was like I had this view of kind of like the content world, and this is like being young and immature. Is like the more that I do, the more people will care. The more success you have, the more people will care. And I shot 4 bucks in one year, and it was like a 148, a 141, a 140, and a 127 with my recurve. And I'm like, it's not no one cared any more that year than the year that I didn't kill anything. And I'm like, oh, like I shouldn't do this for anybody else but me. And
Mhm.
so I've kind of refocused it back on that. Like, well, what do I want to do? If I don't want to go this weekend, I'm not going to go. Right. Whereas before it's like, well, I'm not going to go ahead and be somebody. And just realize that apart from like 3 friends, nobody else cares. So like, just do it for the right reasons. Don't make
So
it an idol.
I love the fact that you just brought that up. I had this discussion earlier with a very good friend of mine, content creator himself, very good one at that, and he had actually literally just moved to Ohio, went to film school, the whole 9 yards, like very big into it. And we were having a conversation, and opening weekend for him is coming up this weekend, and he was like, "I don't even know if I want to carry the camera." And I'm like, "Why? Like why?" And he's like because I want to go out and enjoy it and have fun with it. Like nobody really cares. Like if I don't post anything, it doesn't matter. If I make a reel, that's cool. If it don't, I don't. And I totally agree with that 100%. That's my beliefs, and it's like when we started to make the podcast here, we thought that full throttle you have to do everything. You do a podcast a week, you have to do content, everybody cares what you're doing, you have to
Mhm.
post every single day on Instagram, it really matters. Nobody cares. If I post it once a week or once a day, it gets the same traction, the same amount of people care, and the ones that do care, they reach out to you and congratulate you anyways, and it doesn't change anything. Like you're just killing yourself for no reason.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I've done it. So I'm a, I'm the I'm a bad example for that. Is like I'm kind of a volume person. Like the more you do, the better it'll be. and that's not necessarily the case. Like you're you can stack up antlers like wood, and if it doesn't mean anything to you, it doesn't mean anything to anybody.
Right.
So it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of brought a little bit of that purity back into it for me. It's like I'm hunting for me and because I want to do this, and I kind of take it in the perspective of like, now I can honestly say, like, well, if you took the camera away, you took the podcast away, you did everything, what would you be doing? And now I'm like, I'd be here. I'd be in Canada trying to shoot an elk. I'd
Mhm.
be trying to go shoot a deer, and none of it would change. Whereas maybe before it'd be a little bit different, but I think that's just getting older and kind of maturing and those sort of things.
Do you think that there was a moment in your life that you realized all of that? Like when you were maybe trying to make too much content or do too much or have too many podcasts that kind of like it struck a chord with you to be like, I just need to do this for what I am because I'm losing my passion for it?
Yeah, we there was a time during, and I don't know exactly what year it was. I think it's probably 21 or 22, where it was like that TikTok phase,
Hmm.
and where it's like anything you threw at the wall kind of went crazy. So it's like more, 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 more. There was one point where we were doing like 3 a day. And first of all, there's not that many interesting things to talk about for 3 a day. So like you're like throwing things at the wall, you know. And there was a time where we would do like 2 podcasts a week, and I think there's a place for that too. But the thing now is like what we're going for at least is like consistent and sustainable. Like, what is the schedule? Like once a week, probably similar to what you guys do. Is like I'm going to do it once a week, which is sustainable for me and also consistent for people that possibly want to tune in and listen. And so, like, man, it's just like you can really have too much of a good thing too. If you enjoy the podcast, cool. But if you do it 4 times a week, you may not enjoy it as much. And I always heard a funny thing by Dave Ramsey used to say, and he's like, if you eat enough lobster, it tastes like soap. And it's just like too much of a, if you should go out and shoot 1,550 inch bucks this year, by the end of it, you're gonna be like, throw in the pile. You know, it's another one. Like, so I think you have too much of a good thing.
I couldn't agree with that more. And you kind of get sucked into that life. Like I've said it a million and one times on the podcast. Like there was a time where we had, we wanted to grow to this, or I say we, but I thought I had this big envision, right, for what it could be and all of the things that we could do. And I just loved it and was ate up in it. And it was just the greatest thing in the world, and filming and content and the whole nine yards. And killed a big buck on film and then killed another good deer on film, like constantly, and I loved it for myself, and then you would put it out there. But then when you had those moments that you find yourself constantly trying harder than you actually would to try and get content, and you're getting mad at yourself, and then you're getting mad at the ones around you because they're not creating content because they're part of it. Because at one time we had 5 or 6 guys that were filming and killing deer and tons of them, and like it was a blast and it was fun, but there was a point that it became too much and it was more aggravating than it was anything. And there was this one moment, it was like this, I don't know, I was in a tree stand and God must have said to me, and showed me that like you don't need this anymore. Like this is not you, this is not what it was. And I remember like it was yesterday. Um my phone rang. November 7th, cold front, 20-degree difference, and my father texted me he had shot a deer and he didn't have anybody to help him drag. I mean, I'm the guy. Like it's me. And I'm like, dude, it's November 7th. This buck showed up 3 days in a row, like cold front, like moon's perfect, wind's perfect. This deer's going to die. And I was like, Dad, I can't help you, dude. Like I'm killing a big deer. And I hung up that phone, and just something in my mind was like, dude, what are you doing? What are you
Hmm.
doing? And I just started to like there wasn't even a thought in my mind. I just started packing up my camera gear and I got down the tree because I realized there's a November 7th in the future and my dad's not going to be around, and I need to stop doing what I'm doing and I need to hunt with the ones I love and not worry about this stupid camera. And it's
Oh yeah.
and it's changed my life, dude. Like doing it totally different and bringing the podcast and not too much creation, right? Like you get so ate up in this, dude, because you love it and you think that somebody cares. Nobody cares. No, nobody
Besides
cares.
you.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. No, I resonate with that a bunch. I think that's a good word, a good message to a lot of people. There were There were a lot of times where, like I said, we would hunt really, really hard, and the idea of like we have a group that we go and we hunt with, and especially we hunt in the mountains together, and it's like me and my uncle and a couple buddies, and sometimes our brothers will come, and sometimes the other people's kids will come, and so we have this group. It could be like anywhere from 5 to 10 people, and when used to be if like someone shot a deer, I'm like, sweet, I'll see you at dark, or I'll see or look for it tomorrow morning or whenever. And now when we go back and we're eating lunch and someone's like, I shot a deer, I'm like, we're not hunting this evening
Right.
until we find this deer. And so
Mm.
like, dude, there's one video on our channel where my uncle shoots a deer and we bring in a tracking dog, and there's 11 people on the track, and we walk by. So like my uncle never used a dog before. So like where the deer was, he shoots the deer, and let's just say it runs this way. Well, we come in and we walk directly up the trail, back up to his tree. He knows nothing about scent controlling. He never used one before. And the tracker's like, all right, where did the deer run? He's like, oh, where we all just walked. And he's like, we just walked 11 people over the trail of where the deer walked. And he's like, yes. And he's like, do you know how hard that is for the dog to work through? And he's like, I had no idea. I thought they were on blood. I didn't know it had anything to do with, the interdigital gland or whatever.
Mm.
And that dog tracks that deer, and like there's no hope. And dude, there's scent pooling all over the place. And like that dog is just whiplash because there's so many different people in there. And it eventually works its way down a track and like juts off in another direction. And in like 100 yards, the deer's just dead there. And there's a picture of like 10 of us like behind that one deer. And I'm like, man, what was more important? Like, could we have all went out and hunted again and maybe shot one more deer and stacked one up? Yeah, but like we can't recreate that moment. We can't make that happen again. We can't. And like that's the thing when I'm sitting in bed and July 20th, like I'm scrolling through my camera roll and I'm like, oh my God, look at that. That was freaking awesome. Because I know that those people and everyone that's in that group knows that those people do the exact same thing for them. And so it's just that sense of like it's not only what you're doing, it's who you're doing it with. And if you got a good group of people that you do it with, like hold on to that, because hunting is a really, really selfish sport, and especially deer hunting. It's very exclusive and it's very individualistic if you want to be good at it. But man, it is fun to share it with people. And if you keep it in the right context, it can be even more fulfilling. Cause like now it's like when someone in that group shoots a deer, it's like I shot it, it's like the next guy shot it. So I agree with you though. Like it's very hard to get those. You can't get those moments back.
No, you definitely can't. And I think, growing up, and I know like New England based here, like deer camp is a huge thing. Like we have deer camps in the woods, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, like that's a huge thing. It's a group hunting thing, deer drives, just deer camp. And it's just a group setting. Like my whole life growing up, we'd go out and there'd be 7 guys on public land and we'd sit on a rock till noon, and then we'd go and get lunch, and then we would all go back out again, and like it was a big group setting. And then as I started to transition to that trophy hunting, it became very selfish.
Yeah.
And it you don't have that. We talk about it a ton where like it, during November we would get a million phone calls to come and track deer, and now I'm like, I ain't coming to help you, bro. It ain't no, no. I gotta get up in the morning. There's no way. And you
Hmm.
try to, I lost that. I don't have that outlook anymore. I don't really care. I would rather go track a deer and spend time with somebody who shot a monster deer than to selfishly go and try and shoot my own, because I don't think that the camaraderie is more important than doing it yourself, right? And then when you're with those people, it's memories you're never gonna get again. You'll die without them,
Yeah.
to be honest. And I wouldn't want it any other way.
Oh, I genuinely, I kind of feel bad for people that don't have other people to hunt with, or there's some people that slam giants, but they don't have anybody to talk to it about, or they don't have anyone to help them recover it. And I'm like, man, dude, I don't know if it's gaining the whole world and losing your soul, but it's like it's gaining a big buck and not having a friend, and that sucks. Like I enjoy having I enjoy, even though it might disrupt and take down opportunity for one person, like to me, it's fun to have 2 people on a lease. It's
Yeah,
fun to have other people on it just because it's like we're sharing trail camera photos back and forth. I'm like, what do you think that deer is? You think he's 150? I think he's 147. I don't think there's no way and like
yeah,
why don't you shoot him and we'll find out. And so like there's just a bunch of that stuff. And like that's what that's what makes it so special is the people that you're doing it with, you know? And like that's one of the things that's been I feel super blessed by is like God's put a bunch of people in my life that love what I love too. And so it makes it super easy. And if you kind of take the ego and the selfishness out of it, then dude, it's fun. It makes deer hunting fun again. It really does. Unless your neighbor shoots one, then like piss on him. That sucks. But um
No,
he's not a friend, he's a foe.
yeah, but the thing too is you almost, and I always think in the back of my mind, like, no matter who it is who shoots it, even if it is a neighbor, like you congratulate them. There's so many other deer out there, and like that, I believe in that karma thing. Like being jealous and upset because somebody shot a big deer. I know deep down inside I still have that feeling, but I try
Yeah.
not to let it out because like I want to congratulate anybody who shoots a deer, or even if my target deer gets shot, like I want to congratulate that person. I want to be part of that. I want to help hold that deer or measure that deer or whatever because there's that's good for that person. Like that they worked just as hard as you did. You just
Mhm.
you just sucked at it this year. Like it is what it is. Like it's part of the game, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. Like there's been a few times where it's like, man, is there a deer big enough for running a relationship over? And it's like, I haven't found one yet, but I also haven't had I haven't had a booner that I'm like, oh no, dude, you're off the lease this year. I gotta shoot this one. But never had, thank God I've never been tempted in that way.
Christian, you probably just don't have that personality because I feel as if that there's some people out here in this world, and I say it all the time, is like it's football. Football is a group sport. You always have somebody to keep you in a check. Soccer is a group sport. Any type of sport that's a team sport, you have someone to keep you in those checks and balances. In hunting, there's nobody in the checks and balances. Those people have this ego that is bigger than them. It's bigger than life. That they're so jealous and so upset, and they think that they're the absolute best. That if you told them there was a 120 on your lease, they're gonna come and try and shoot it. Like they don't you know what I'm but
Yeah.
it's true, man. Like those people, like there is a ton of people out there have had those friends that they don't care. That buck means more than them than that friendship, that camaraderie, and cherishing it with you, like to because they're not. There's no checks and balances to tell them no. Like they can just do it on their own, and they are the best, and they want to kill that
Yeah.
deer. And it's sad. And I think that's a big thing with social media that's kind of upsetting me, or YouTube or whatever. There's always somebody on there telling you that you suck at something, or you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. But who's to tell that they're the best? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I never understood it, man. I just don't get it.
Yeah. I don't think hunting is one of those things that is I don't think it's something that you can measure and say like this person is better than that person because there's no control. Like there's no controlled variable in any of it. Like there's people that couldn't hunt their way out of a wet paper sack that are going to kill a booner every year because they have fantastic place to go. And there's somebody that like, dude, the people that like worry me a bunch are the people that go out and slam a 130 every year on public. I'm like, dude, if that guy ever had an opportunity worth a damn, he'd probably be slamming giants,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, to go.
it's just not one of those things that I think you can say like, oh, I'm better than you at, or this person is better at this. And like, I don't know. I think that, I don't know. I think that's kind of distasteful to me too.
Do you think that if they did have a category of somebody that was like a really good hunter or the best hunter, do you think that he would not be a whitetail hunter?
Mm. Dude, I don't know. Some of the best deer hunters and hunters in general that I know are turkey people.
Really?
Yeah, like one of my best friends is a really, really good turkey hunter, and he just has like a level of like it's like woodsmanship and patience that like I don't necessarily have cuz like turkeys can see really good. And
Yeah.
so like just the way he kind of traversed the woods and like walked and like also another thing that he does a bunch, and I don't know if it's necessarily just attributing to like turkey hunting, but like wakes up every day and treats it like day one. And I think if people could do that, they would be very well served because like normally the weight of crappy hunting kind of weighs on you. And by day three, you're like, well, I'm not going to go out this morning. Or by day six, well, I know I'm supposed to be here 8 days. I'm going to leave on six. And so, like, if what he does, he wakes up every day and, like, it's like, well, it's day one. Didn't happen yesterday. one no closer to a yes. And that attitude, I'm like, dude, if you wake up every day like renewed, um, you can, dude, it's gonna happen. Like we were hunting turkeys in Mississippi one time, and I'm like, we drove, it's like spring break. We drove all the way over there. Like hunting's okay at that point, and it's like 3:45 in the morning. Alarm goes off, and I'm like, no, please, God, no. I do not want to get up and do this. And he's just like the Undertaker out of a coffin. Just it's like, hey, didn't happen yesterday. Today's the day. I'm like, dude, you're making me want to think today's the day, you know? And so I don't know. I don't know if it's like a species thing, if it's, but that's one of the people that I think it's really hard to stop people that have that attitude, like that it's day one.
I genuinely love that. I think that's the greatest thing that I've ever heard. Honestly, that's the right attitude to have because you're right. You get so dragged on, especially on a 5-day hunt. By day 3, you're not going to want to make it happen. You're so drained. You're like, this sucks, whatever. To have that type of attitude, I think he would be up there in the contenders of the best hunters in the world. Like,
Dude, it's a weird trait. Like I'm kind of a natural like pessimist in a sense of like, well, what's the reasons it's not going to happen? And he's kind of like turned me in a lot of ways to an optimist. Well, it's like, well, look, we're going to go anyways. We're already here. We're going
right.
to go hard. Why have a shitty attitude while you're doing that? Like,
True.
what's the point? It's like you're going to do it anyway. So you're going to do it begrudgingly or you're going to do it like, and I think you hunt different when you think that way. Like, no, today's the day. Like if I can get to this point and I can go this to this spot because of these reasons, it's gonna happen. And I've tried to develop that attitude. Like I had, um, but and I don't get as upset anymore when things don't go right because I'm like, well, tomorrow's the day. Then if it wasn't today, it's tomorrow. And if it's not the end of this season, it's next. If it's not that one, it's the next. And like if you can expand your timeline long enough, like it's probably gonna happen for you, and you might be pumped up. But I think, yeah, waking up every day and just like treating it like day one, like, dude, because think about day one. Think about the enthusiasm you have on day one. Like, dude, you'll drive 20 hours and like wake up after 3 hours of sleep and be like, dude, let's pound it. And you don't have that same enthusiasm day two. Day three, you definitely don't. Day four, you definitely don't. But being around people that do that, and my uncle's the same way, who was one of the people that taught me to hunt, my uncle and my dad, like he's kind of happy go lucky, kind of got this just like, I'm taking it serious when it's crunch time, I'm serious, but like kind of up until crunch time, I'm not taking it too serious. Like it's kind of nonchalant. It's kind of just happening to me, kind of just moving with the flow. And he's like that. I'm like, dude, we haven't seen anything in 5 days. Like, Justin, you think today is the day? It's the same things as the last 5 days. What makes today any different than? And he's like, well, today could be the day. Why not? Why not this morning? Why not this evening? And he has that attitude. And like, I've I've walked up on him before. He called me. He's on public. This morning, I had a hunted the wrong wind on this ridge. I was hunting. It's basically just this big drainage. There's a bunch of those in the mountains, just like rocky, like wet weather creeks. And I'm hunting it, and I set up my saddle because I'd seen a doe just in this big hayfield, and I'm like, I'm gonna set up that direction because like a buck could come from that way. It's like November, it's the rut, and I'm just sitting. I hear behind me at like 9:30 in the morning. I just hear. I'm like, what the frick was that? I turn around and I just see like a caramel horn, probably 17-inch wide, mid 130s, eight, just running away. I'm like, frick. And I just sat there and laughed because I'm like, he winded me. He came from completely behind me. And my uncle called me. He's like, I shot a doe. I'm like, you shot a doe? He's like, yeah, come help me drag it out. I said, you got Jordan with you. You freaking drag it out. It's like, I don't need to come help you for a doe. And he's like, well, you're going to want to see it. I'm like, okay. We drove all the way to the other part of this area. He shot a 165 with triple flyers on each G2. And he was like, not a bad doe, huh? And I'm like, dude, you got the attitude for it. Good on you. Yeah, he slammed a 165, 16 point. I'm like, break, yeah, dude. That's awesome. But I feel like that, like you said, that kind of that karma, dude, I feel like that energy, it like comes back to you in a way. It's like what you put out there is what comes back towards you. And doesn't mean it's always going to go right. Like
Right.
I wounded an elk a week and a half ago or whatever, didn't find it. Like I had a good attitude about it. Doesn't mean I'm going to bring it home, but dude, it just makes it so much more enjoyable if you have that attitude. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that are very miserable doing what they love, you know?
Well, it's the same. Okay, it goes to show, and you see this all the time, even in our realm and the podcast realm. People, they do what they love, but they're not having any fun while doing it. I don't understand that. Like it's like a job to them to record podcasts. I just don't I never understood that. But when you have the right attitude and you just have fun and you just enjoy it and you're positive, like good things will happen. Like because it could never be. It's a half glass half full, not glass half empty. If you're negative going into it, of course you're gonna have a shitty time. If you have a positive attitude, you're gonna have a good time anyways. You'll be like, oh well, if I see a deer, it'd be great. If I find a shed, if I kill a turkey, hear a turkey, cool, it'd be great. But if you think of it negative, then you're just gonna have a negative outlook on everything. If you go and you talk crap about everybody that's around you, you're just gonna be a
Yeah.
negative person. Why do you want to be like that? Doesn't even it's not even fun.
Oh, I'm probably the most negative turkey hunter you'll ever meet in your life because, like, I'm not good at it. We didn't grow up with them, like,
Right.
just not super experienced. And I got back super early one time. We went on a bachelor trip and we were hunting them in Wyoming. And I don't know crap about turkeys. Like, I'm just getting my butt kicked in. They're all over on private. I'm like, piss on them. So I go back to the truck and I like take a nap. We're sitting there at camp and three other guys are sitting at camp. And I'm like, where's Jake? This is my other, not Jake, my
Yeah.
co-host, different Jake, other buddy. I have like 5 friends named Jake. And like he's still hunting. And I'm like, he's wasting his time. I'm like, wasting his time. I'm like, those birds are pressured. They're on private, whatever. And so I take a nap. I wake up and I was like, I walked over to him, I'm like, wasting your time, huh? He's sitting there on a cooler, smoking a cigar. And he just reaches to the right side of the cooler and just pulls up a bird. And he's like, nope. He just sets it back down. I'm like, frick. Like, I should have been hunting this morning. I should have kept hunting this morning. Like, but that's the thing. Day one, that dude, if he just kind of got a little bit different mentality. I've trying to let that some of that rub off on me, just not in the turkey woods. I just don't have the go get
Come
to
on.
get after the turkeys. I don't.
We so one of the things that we live by is a killer's gonna kill. And like that's like a slogan that we've had forever. And it's just one of those things is you're gonna if you're a killer, you're gonna figure out how to kill. If it's raining, you're gonna hunt, you're gonna go figure out how to kill. If it's a crappy day, you're gonna go out, you're gonna kill. If there's not turkeys around, you're gonna find out where they are. If you're traveling and you're hunting, you're even if it's a warm front, you're gonna find out, you're gonna find where the deer are and you're gonna kill. Like killer's gonna
Yeah.
kill. Just keep prevailing forward, keep working hard, stay positive because when you start to get negative, you're not gonna succeed. Stay positive and go out there and make it happen. And that's if you live by that, you will find success. I swear. Like it's just the way that it goes. Like I used to be that negative person. You'd be halfway across the country and you're like, dude, this ain't gonna happen. It's gonna
Yeah.
rain tomorrow. It's gonna rain for the next 2 days. It's 20 degrees hotter than it was supposed to be. This is crap. I don't want to hunt. And you're not going to kill anything if you don't hunt. So you just got to go out there and just make it happen. The turkey are a tough thing though, dude. You can't let them get you down. You got to get after them. Like
I just,
anything could happen.
yeah. I don't have so down here in Texas, I don't have a place to hunt them. And it's hard I spend so much time in the, August to December timeframe, like gone and hunting and stuff. And so I'm like, dude, I told my buddy, I'm like, I can't pick up this hobby too. Because like if I pick up this hobby, I'm gonna be gone all the time.
So do you think that it's like the elk though? Do you think elk and turkey are in the same realm? Everybody talks about that and how elk and turkey are the same type of hunting.
Man, the vocalization makes them super unique. Yeah, like I think they share that for sure. I I don't know. So what makes things really interesting to me is the uniqueness. And to me, it feels like turkeys lack uniqueness. Like if they have a 7-inch beard or a 10-inch beard, it's like, oh, nice. It's like super cool. And you're trying to find things that are different, like, oh, this one's got a longer snoot or better spurs. And so I just don't think I have nearly as much of like an affinity or like an appreciation for them because I didn't grow up around them. And it wasn't really an option to hunt them where we were at very much. And so but I think elk and turkey are similar in the vocalizations, but like, dude, something coming up that's 800 pounds that's got freaking horns the size of your arms. Like vocalization's pretty much where those commonalities stop in my mind. But it makes it it's a unique style of hunting because you're chasing something that's talking back to you. And
Right.
that just makes it so much, it's like a dance. Like it's like a, oh, he went left, I'm gonna go left, or he went right, I'm gonna go left. And it's like a dance, like it's like boxing, like the sweet science. You got to know when to zig and zag, and I love that part, and I honestly love that about turkeys too. But I've never been like I don't have a good sense of like, okay, that gobbled. Was that 75 yards? Was that 180 yards? Was that 400 yards? And so like with Merriam's when we were out in Wyoming, they would gobble and I'm like, dude, they're on top of me. Sit down. And like I'd sit down and they'd gobble for 30 more minutes. I'm like, where are they? They're gonna come over that hill at 50 at any time. And they never did. I'm like, okay, something's not right with this perception thing. So I think I have a dismay for turkeys because I suck at hunting them, and I can admit that.
Well, I think literally you talking about them bobbing and weaving, go left, go right. I mean, I would have thought you were the greatest turkey hunter in the world when you were talking about it. But you were
Nope.
actually talking about elk because I was like, that's he's literally talking turkey right now. Like that's literally how it goes.
No, yeah, I do. I think some turkey hunters are some of the best, like some of the best woodsmen, and there's a lot you can take away from that. And I think there's probably a good turkey hunter would be a pretty, as long as they can traverse the mountain, would probably be a pretty decent elk hunter just right off the bat.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's a different type of love, right? And I don't know. I've never really elk hunted before, so I don't know. But like when you're just that interaction, like you're saying, all those things that you just said, like that's what that driving force for me is in turkeys. Like I love turkeys. I grew up around turkeys. This was my favorite thing to do. If you told me I could only hunt one thing for the rest of my life, it would definitely be a long beard, no questions asked. Like it's I guess it's the talk back and forth, watching them, the interaction, the talk about camaraderie. I can bring anybody turkey hunting. Like I'll bring anybody and their brother turkey hunting to spend that time with them and teach them that and show them that and see them shake and watch them go through those steps. Um, it's just I don't know. I don't know. There's something about it. I don't know. Turkey hunting, talking to them,
Yeah.
like learning to just kiki run on them or self yelp or whatever, and just like, oh, that bird doesn't want that, he's got that attitude, or this bird's got that. I guess it's that kind of thing for me. And it's the same with deer, but the deer just don't listen back. Like you can understand a deer and like what he likes to do in a food source. Is he an aggressive deer? Is he not an aggressive? The same things to learn that. I think that's the process. I love the process of all of that, I guess.
hmm
I
Yeah,
can't.
and it fires me up with elk. It just for the turkeys, it's just dude, I promise you, if I would have grown up doing it, I would probably feel exactly the same way. But like, it just wasn't even an option. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna deer hunt and just go hunt other stuff. So,
Do you think that when you got into the western hunting, that kind of lit a different type of fire to you that you may have lost in other types of hunting?
oh frick yeah, oh 100%. Because dude, I've been kind of burnout's not the right word, but just kind of sick of the way of the world in terms of the whitetail stuff. Like I don't I'm not anybody in the terms of like the outdoor industry or whatever, but I feel like I know a decent amount of people and struggle to find like private access. I've lived in Texas for like 6 years and I don't have a single acre that I can hunt down here. And I know a decent amount of people, and it's just that part of it kind of ruined it for me, of like kind of people peacocking in a sense of like, oh, I shot this, so I'm that. And I'm like, dude, if I had your spot, I'd kill your deer. If you had my spot, you'd probably kill mine. And that's just the reality of kind of whitetail hunting in some sense. And like there's some skill to it, no doubt. But I feel like we kind of got this whitetail thing somewhat beat to death from like a tips and a tactics perspective. And things are just honestly like regurgitated
Agree.
a lot. Like, and it's like, I don't have anything new to say. So I'm going to try to take what somebody else said and I'm going to try to put a new word to it or describe it in a different way. I'm like, that's the same thing. And so, from that perspective, I think that got a little stale. Not that I just like quit hunting whitetails or anything. I didn't, and I still hunted them super hard. But like out west, there's so much diversity, and there's so many. The terrains are so different, and like over the next hill is just you go into the next state, and it's so different and unique, and just what you haven't seen before. And you can take a lot of the whitetail hunting stuff. Glassing, reading sign, moving, whatever, and take those tactics and apply them to that. So like it kind of lit a fire under me, the diversity of things you could chase and the new landscapes and the new challenges. And also like one of the things for me on the whitetail side was like the experience never hasn't really felt super wild in a while. Like it's I'm gonna go shoot this deer, then I'm gonna go get Brahms, I'm gonna get a burger and a shake, and then I'm gonna go skin it, and then I'm gonna go to bed, and then I'm gonna wake up, sleep in this nice bed, and go do this again. And well, I got a few hours between the hunt. Let's go get Mexican food and like that sort of thing. And that to me, it's like almost fractionalized hunting. Whereas when you're Western hunting or you're hunting off your back or you're there or you're in a place for a certain amount of time, it feels like a wild experience. Like we went to Kodiak for we're supposed to be there for like 6 days. We ended up staying on the island for like 9 days because our plane didn't get picked up, which was ridiculous. There was too high winds and they swooped down like 10 foot above the water to pick us up and just flew out of our lives for 3 more days. And we're like, what the? It was very wild. But that experience, I ended up shooting. Oh, I'll show you my Kodiak buck. Watch it. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at that monster.
I
This deer.
I saw pictures of that. Yeah.
So this deer, dude, this is probably one of my proudest moments and things that I've been able to, and nobody can take this. This is a Kodiak Island Sitka blacktail DIY with a
Of
bow.
course.
And that experience, like from a vanity perspective, like, dude, that's not a big deer. Doesn't probably mean a whole lot to a lot of people, but the experience was like pure and wild. And that's what I loved about, and that's what I do love about Western hunting, is it feels wild. Like when people do Western backpack hunting, like they go up to Colorado and some of these people go do that and they do it DIY by themselves and they stay for 5 days by themselves. I'm like, dude, your balls are like coconuts. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. And that just takes a different type of mentality. And for me, that's what kind of pushed me that way. I also wanted to do the slam. Like it's very hard. It's very long term. It's not something you can just flip a light switch and it's over. I wanted to do that. So that kind of led me that way. And then once I realized like kind of how crazy and how wild and how pure the experience is and how it's not just a big dong measuring contest, I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like if somebody goes out there, hauls their food in on their back, they kill something, they eat it, they hike out of the mountains with it. I'm like, nobody can take that from you. Like, and not that somebody can do that with a deer either, but that wildness, that unpredictability, the craziness of it all, like that's what gets me going. Like I really like that. But after doing a bunch of that now, or a decent amount of that, especially this year, I'm like, man, it's nice to go freaking shoot a deer over a corn feeder. you know? So it's both.
Yeah, but you have to have that, right? Like you have to I guess you have to challenge yourself, right? Because you start to get comfortable in what you're doing. So if you challenge yourself to do something else, like to go to the Kodiak, like that's the craziest thing in the world. Like why wouldn't you? And then somebody would then judge you for shooting a spike horn. Like
Yeah.
and most people myself would be like, dude, hats off to you, bro. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. That's the craziest thing ever and that's the biggest trophy in the world. Like who where's yours, bro? That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yours,
yeah.
man. Like
Yeah. Dude,
it-
no, it's awesome. It's that's that part of it to me is like not that whitetail is perverted in that sense, but it's become, I feel like a lot of the purity of why we do it and how we do it and what we're pursuing and what goals we have, like has to do with the influence of a lot of other people. And, it is like a bigger, better, badder kind of pursuit. And that's just not something I necessarily want to participate in. And you don't have to, but like by pursuing other stuff, it's just kind of rewilded the experience for me and allowed me to like, it just adds a new element to it. And like you said, it's a challenge. So it's just different.
I think it's a great thing because I think like we said in the beginning, like if there wasn't social media, we'd still be doing all of these things, right? But like when we were younger and shooting 100 inch or basket rack, we thought we were on top of the world, dude. We thought
Oh
we were
yeah.
prairie. We thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Now you do it, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to post that on social media. I don't think that's a good idea. Like,
Mhm.
but I still have the same feeling when that thing comes in, dude. I'm shaking the
Oh,
lead,
dude.
and I'll do it, and I don't care, and I'll pull that trigger, and it's the greatest thing in the world. You tell me
Oh,
right now,
yeah.
no way.
Oh, I smashed a spike, dude, and I was like, "Dude, this is awesome."
Yeah.
I was not any I was jacked up. 30 I think I was 3,500 miles away from home
Wow.
on and you're on an island, and, hey, you realize, like, I'm not in control of anything here. Like, nobody cares that I exist here. These mice, this bear, these deer, they're gonna go do their thing whether I'm here or I'm not, and so, like, you just kinda put you in place in the world of your significance, and you're like, "I'm not significant. I'm an intruder in a foreign land, and, like, my goal is to come in here and kill something and bring it home." And it's dude, there's, that even on less than like if people don't have the aspirations of going and doing that stuff, you should do some of that stuff just for your soul, just to go spend some time alone and separate. Like my phone didn't work and I was only texting my wife via satellite.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, dude, that's just good for you. That's
I
really good
it,
for you.
so we do a handful, or I do a handful of. When I say we, me and the dog, do a handful of shed hunting in the Northwoods of Maine, and it's my favorite reset. I haven't been in 3 years, and I promised myself this year with the hustle bustle of world of everything going on, like to go up there and just separate, man. Like, I don't care if I find an antler. I don't care, just to watch the stars and be in a different place with no cell phone reception. Don't have to worry about no people, no horns. Like, it's incredible to go to those places. And those are those reasons that we do this. That's why we have the woodsmanship, the survival skills that we have. That's why we've done this for so many years and loved the outdoors, is for those reasons. And like I think it's like now you can't get separated from it, because when you're in your tree stand deer hunting or you're chasing elk, you're looking on social media. What's going on? And you can't be away from the people, the hustle and bustle of life. Like I think, is that your first time you've really separated from all of that, or like in a place like that far away?
Oh, that far away for sure. Like we've hunted New Mexico and hunted Colorado and Nebraska. I've done Wyoming, South
With
Dakota.
or without service in a lot of those places?
Yeah, but a lot of those places still have service. Like
Yeah.
a lot of them do. So
Yeah.
like in that sense of like it really makes you feel out of control because you're like, hey, I get a text from my wife and it's like, hey, this is happening. I got in a car wreck. This is going on. It's like, okay, the quickest time I could be back to you like is like 2.5, 3 days.
Mhm.
So like you are completely out of control of anything. And honestly, there's places that are a lot more remote than Kodiak, like probably the Northwest Territories, the Yukon. Like there's other none of it, I don't know how they say that.
Out of Canada.
Yeah, dude, there's some places that are a lot more remote to that, and I'm just like, oh my god, it makes you it to me. It's like those trips aren't even just about the hunting. It's like, oh my, I'm going to get to see something that like very few have seen, and that's one of the things Jake and I talked about when we saw there was a stream in Kodiak coming off the mountain, and it's like 2,500 feet elevation, which doesn't sound like a bunch, but like when you're at 800, it feels like a lot, and there's a lot of brush getting up to the alders and stuff. A lot of that stuff's like over your head, and there's like a stream running off the mountain, and it runs all the way down to like this lake in the bottom, and there's like a bald eagle down in the lake, freaking grabbing salmon and a bunch of other stuff, and we're just sitting there, and one of the things that Jake said that like kind of stuck with me is like, how many people have seen this stream? It's like, dude, I don't know. Like us, maybe a couple other people if they've came in here and bear hunted or deer hunted, and it's like, but it exists. It does this thing every day. Like agnostic of what you're doing, it's doing its thing and it's out here and it exists. And I'm like, gosh, how many more places are like that? Like how many places on there where it's like, dude, nobody has stepped right there. Nobody's looked at that before. And that, I don't know, talk about like a creator and feeling like a god of the universe and everything else. And it's like, oh my gosh, I see those places and I'm just further affirmed. And there's like a verse in like Romans, I think it's Romans 10. It talks about since the beginning, people have seen the things that you created and they know that you exist. And like that that's true when you're in a place like that.
Mhm.
Like you're like, I know there's something. This was not a mistake. Like this is so all that, and you go shoot a spiker, and it's like I can't summarize my experience by a spike that I shot. I'm like, dude, I don't. It doesn't matter,
Matter.
at
That's in
all.
your own mind. Like it doesn't matter. And how many of those animals have actually seen a human being? That's the
Dude, I don't
craziest.
know.
That's the craziest thing in the world. Like some of these animals have never seen a human being, or those animals have never been seen by a human. Like
Yeah,
like as far as like trophy animals. Like if there was, a 140 Sika black or whatever. I know it's a little bit obscene, but like
yeah, be a
that
monster.
that lives in the Kodiak and has never been seen by a human being ever in its entirety.
Dude, we were talking about that in Alberta, too. Is like, dude, how many of these bush bucks that are 7, 8, 9, 10 years old have never seen somebody, have never ran across somebody like this place? There's places up there that are millions of acres.
Hmm.
And dude, Alberta, I think, has 5 million people in it. It's like that's the population of Oklahoma, which is like one of the least populated states. And this place is like 5 times this. It's like the size of Texas. So it's like, dude, there are deer in here that, like, if you walked up on them, they would be like, what the frick is that? Like, I've never seen something like that before.
Hmm.
Which is, to me, that fires me up. But I did find it. It's not Romans 10, it's Romans 1:20. It says, "For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and the sky. Through everything God has made, they can clearly see his invisible qualities, his external power, his divine nature, so they have no excuse for not knowing God." That puts it in perspective when you're in a place like that. Like, that is couldn't be any more clear. Like, it's freaking, dude, it fires me up talking about it. About to
It
head back to
does.
Kodiak.
The truth, though, I mean, and think about it. How many nights did you sit out and just look at the stars that are there? Like the night it's a different type of dark. It's a different type of stars. The astrology is just incredible. Like I don't know that if that doesn't fire you up, you're not alive. Like you're
Yeah.
literally living, in my opinion. Like I think a lot of people miss that because they just don't understand. They don't get it. They don't. I don't know. It's upsetting sometimes because,
Yeah.
dude, why? These are the things that we do this for. We don't do it for 180s. We do it because at some point there was somebody walking this earth who made a flintstone, foot napped, arrowhead and shot an animal and like I don't know. I get upset
Yeah.
about it because it's like, Fred Bear didn't start doing what he did and shooting those animals for a reason. Like I don't know. I get so
Yeah. Well,
like
going back to the whitetail thing that I was talking about earlier, and I
yeah,
kind of put it in perspective, just like kind of reminiscing on it a little bit, and not like I'm the Bear Grylls of hunting or anything. I don't want anybody to take it like that. Like, I'm not some ultra runner badass that like does
right.
all this stuff. Like, that's not me. I'm just kind of getting into this side of it. But like, you think about it, you're imagine you're in the Midwest, you're on a bean field, over a corn pile, with a cell camera, in a box blind, with a heater, with your iPad, and you're like, "Dude, are we even hunting at this? Like, are we hunting at all in this?" Not that, like, if I could afford a box blind, maybe I'd have one, but
Yeah, right. If
um,
I had a
it's
lease
just,
there,
yeah, if I had a place worth putting one, might have one. But it's
that
just
guy.
like you look at all that, and you're like, is that is that what hunting is? Like, just every earthly modern convenience at your fingertips, and then if something happens to walk by, you're like, okay, cool, I'll decide to shoot that. So that's not that I don't do some of that stuff, but like, to me, that's not the stuff that fires me up anymore.
No, and I totally agree with you, and I think that that's the great thing about everything, where what you want out of this sport can be different than what somebody else wants out of this sport and what they want to do with it. If they want to be a trophy hunter and chase that certain deer or chase that certain elk, like hats off to you, and I
Yeah,
I envy you for doing what you're doing and chasing that high that you want to chase. But you should have the hats off for me too for what I want to do. If I want to do X, Y, and Z, like that's I think that's where it kind of gets construed. Like,
yeah,
okay, if that's what you want to do, that's cool, but it's not what I want to do, and I want to do it in my own way. If I want to be only an upland hunter, and you're an elk hunter, don't tell me that I'm not a hunter. I just want to hunt what I want to hunt, and you want to hunt what you want to hunt, and we should congratulate one another no matter what. Like
yeah,
I think that that's where it gets a little bit construed, and people, and that egotistical, like world that we live in the hunting field. That's what upsets me. Like that
Mhm.
bothers me a lot. And I don't try
Yeah.
to be negative, but like it upsets me.
Yeah. Well, there's everybody wants something else out of it. There could be somebody that lives in a high rise and going sitting in a box blind over a over a cell cam and everything else to them is a wild experience. And so like I'm not gonna take what I think and be like, that's the way it should be. But it's just like everybody's kind of on their own journey.
Mhm.
Right. And it's like depends how you grew up and what's happened to you. There's probably the guys that go slam 300-inch bulls and they're like, dude, all I want to do is go shoot a 120-inch whitetail. What would that be like?
There
Like there
that
are.
that's reality. That is a huge thing. There is I've seen it. The boys at the Working Class Bow Hunter, Kurt, and Jordan literally is a Western hunter, full fledged, and shoots 200-inch mule deer like it's his job, like it's just an everyday occurrence to him, and he shoots a 140 in Illinois, and dude, I thought he was gonna come unglued, bro. Like it was like the greatest thing in the world. Never shot a whitetail, never hunted out of a stand, like
Yeah.
crazy. And it hats off, dude. Like that's so cool. That is that,
Mhm. Yeah, no, it is. I saw one of the guys I follow and I like their content a bunch is Pedro Ampuero,
mhm.
and I saw him come over to like Ohio and kill a whitetail, and it was like, dude, it was like hunting something foreign for them. Like, they're shooting these roe deer and other stuff, and so like it's just perspective, and it's when you hunted a whitetail your whole life, and you know you kind of see the state of everything in the whitetail world. It's like it's for me, it's easier to like kind of lower my expectations on the whitetail side and be like, okay, cool, but I'm gonna go hard on this western stuff,
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna obviously try to shoot a good buck. I'm not gonna just sit on my hands, but you lower your expectations, you'll be happy.
yeah, yeah. Well, Christian, I really appreciate you jumping on with us. I know it's gone by very quickly, and I didn't
Yeah,
even
man.
introduce who you were, so we might as well end with that. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do, man?
Yeah, so my name's Christian Babcock. I was born and raised in Bonita, Oklahoma, Northeast Oklahoma. Um, Went to college at Oklahoma State. Met my wife in 2019. Got married. We have a 7-month-old son named Leland, and so I do run a podcast with my buddy Jake, and we have a hunting page called Hunter's Advantage. So we just basically document our hunts and go all over the place, shooting pods, hunting, and just kind of keeping it fun. I live down here in Central Texas, so as much as there's some cool Texas water stuff down here, I don't fish a whole lot. I kind of just get after the things with hooves and try to shoot stuff with my bow. So it's pretty simple life in a sense.
That's awesome. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and kind of follow along with all your hunts and your journeys, man?
Yeah, man. So you can check us out. We're Hunter's Advantage on most platforms: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We post the podcasts and all the hunts and stuff. YouTube's probably the best place to follow us. We put majority of the content. So yeah, just check us out on YouTube. Everything's gonna just be Hunter's Advantage.
Cool. And before I let you go, man, why don't you tell everybody what drives you outdoors?
Mm. Dude, that's a really good question. I'm sure you've got that answer before that.
Every podcast we ask every single guest before they leave the podcast,
Yeah,
and nobody's ever had the same answer. So
man. I there's not many things that I like kind of attribute to my identity and part of like who I am. And I think to hunt for me is just to be who I am. Is just living authentically is to just hunt. And maybe that's a part of in my environment or how I was raised or what, but like I just think God innately made me this way and this is what I love to do. And so what drives me outdoors is just to go chase things that God put on this earth for us to go and enjoy. And so that's what I love doing, and I think that's part of who I am.
Kristen, no better way to end the podcast, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on and have a conversation. I hope that everybody goes and follows Christian and Jake and what they do. And for everybody else, thank you for taking the ride right here